Hello, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't noticed, I'm wearing my microphone today, and it's extremely dark in my room. For those of you that didn't watch my last video, the light bulb in my room no longer works. It's not necessarily the light, it's the plug itself. It does not work anymore no matter how many light bulbs I put into it. I'm speaking a little lower today because, well, the microphone's closer to my face so I don't have to scream. And I'm going to take advantage of the dark today. As you can see, I have a dimly lit candle in front of me. I have a couple on the side too, and a champagne glass of Mountain Dew. Today, specifically, I'm going to take advantage of the dark by telling you 3 scary stories to tell in the dark. Now, these are taken from a book I own called More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, collected by Alvin Schwartz. Wonderful name, man. Good for you. Now, these, I have not picked what they're gonna be, but I will pick 3 random stories from this book, and I will tell them to the best of my ability. Here in the dark. I did have like 4 other candles lit, so it would be way brighter in my room, but dark. So, I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. And I'm going to open to a random story in the book and proceed reading it. I gotta get my glasses because I'm blind without them. I've also taken advantage of being in the dark to not wear any foundation at all on my face and put my hair down because I look like a mess today. Alright. And we open to The Little Black Dog. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the illustration that goes with it. Alright, let's begin. Billy Mansfield said that a little black dog followed him wherever he went, but he was the only one who saw it, so people thought he was kind of crazy. To drive the dog away, Billy was always hollering at it, throwing rocks at it, but the dog always came back. The first time Billy saw the dog was the day he fought Silas Burton. Billy was just a young man then, but the Burtons and Billy's family had been feuding for years. When Billy saw Silas riding toward him, he went for his gun and Burton went for his. But Billy fired first. Burton's horse ran off and his gun fell where he couldn't reach it. He lay on the ground, pleading Billy not to kill him, but Billy killed him anyway. Burton's little black dog was with him when he was shot. The dog kept licking Burton's face and barking and snarling at Billy. In his anger, Billy killed the dog too. There wasn't much law enforcement in those days, so Billy wasn't arrested. But all that night he heard Burton's dog outside his cabin scratching on his door and barking to be let in. "I'm imagining this," Billy said to himself. "I shot that dog. It's dead." But the next morning, Billy saw the dog. It was waiting for him outside. From then on there was not a day he didn't see it. And there wasn't a night when he didn't hear it scratching on his door, barking to be let in. From then on, Billy was always finding black dog hairs on the sofa, on the floor, in his bed, even in his food. And the house and the yard stank of dog. That's what Billy said. Whenever someone told him there wasn't any dog to see, he said, maybe you don't see it. But I do, and I'm not crazier than any of you are. Things went on like that for many years. Then one morning, in the middle of winter, the neighbors didn't see any smoke coming out of Billy's chimney. They went over to check. Billy wasn't there. A day or two later, they found his body lying in the snow, in the field, back of his cabin. Billy had plenty of enemies. At first, it seemed like somebody wanted him dead. But there wasn't any mark on his body, and there weren't any footprints out there, except for Billy's. The doctor said Billy probably died of old age. But there was something odd about his death. When the neighbors found Billy, there were black dog hairs on his clothes. There were even a few on his face. It smelled like dog out there, yet no one had seen a dog anywhere. Sorry, started to choke. As you can see, I'm not good at public reading. Which is why I had a glass of soda on hand. Alright, that was The Little Black Dog. Random story. The Man in the Middle. I'm gonna set the candle up here so I can look right at you guys instead of off to the side. The Man in the Middle. It was almost midnight. Sally Truitt had just gotten on the subway train at 50th Street after visiting her mother. Don't worry, Sally had told her. The subway is safe. There's always a policeman on duty, but that night she didn't see one. Except for her, the subway car was empty. At 42nd Street, 3 tough-looking men got on. 2 of them were holding up the third, who looked drunk. His head rolled from side to side, and his legs refused to work. When they got him seated, between them, his head came to rest on one of his shoulders. Sally thought he was staring at her. She buried her head in a book and tried not to notice. At 28th Street, one of the men stood up. "Take it easy, Jim," he said to the man in the middle, and got off. At 23rd Street, Jim's other friend stood up. "You'll be fine," he said, and got off. Now the only ones left in the car were Jim and Sally. Just then the train went around a sharp curve, and Jim pitched onto the floor at Sally's feet. When she looked down at him, she saw blood trickle off of him and onto the floor from the side of his head. Just above it, a bullet hole. Alright. The Man in the Middle. That one was shorter, thank God. I could not have read another long story. I didn't open up to a story. I opened up to, the beginning. This one seems interesting. How long is it? No, this one's shorter. This one's better. The Brown Suit. A woman came to the funeral parlor to see her husband's corpse. "You did a good job," she said to the undertaker. "He looks just the way he always looked, except for one thing. My husband always wore a brown suit. You have him dressed in a blue suit." "That's no problem," the undertaker said. "We can easily change it." When she returned later, her husband was wearing a brown suit. "Now he looks just the way he always did," she said. "I know you went through a lot of trouble." "It was no trouble. As it happened, there was a man here who was wearing a brown suit, and his widow felt blue would be better. He was about your husband's size, so we gave him the blue one and gave your husband the brown one. Even so," she said, "changing all of that clothing was a really big job." "Not really," said the undertaker. "All we did was exchange their heads." How'd you guys like that? Let me know if you wanted more scary stories. I know these aren't really scary, but it's something to do in the dark, which I'm surrounded by. Alright, if you liked it, thumbs it up. If you didn't, thumb it down. If you want to see more, check out the rest of my channel. If you're already subscribed, I'll have another one for you. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of this. And as my favorite storyteller always says, quoting Mr. Creepypasta, no, Lazy Masquerade. I'm quoting Lazy Masquerade, by the way. "The best things happen in the dark."